Flaum, and you are here with a bunch of really cool ideas for creating a party.
Yes, I have some crafting partying going on here, but I also have actual birthday layout to go and card as well.
So let's take a peek.
Okay, so first of all, what I've got here with my layout is it's my daughter's 10th birthday layout, and I had a lot of fun with it because to me, you make a birthday layout, especially for a child, I want it to be a lot of fun to make as well as pretty to look at in my scrapbook. So I've got all kinds of fun stuff going on. I love my stitching edge, and one of the things I love to do when I'm making especially a birthday layout is add some little sequins along my stitched edge. It adds a little bit of dimension and detail, but also that kind of fun, like we're throwing
but
confetti
you're not
around.
Stitching them down, right? You're gluing it down.
No, I'm stitching first and then gluing them down on top exactly where I'd like them to be. And it also kind of brings everything together for me, all those little pops of color. And I've also got here around my photo here, of course, my birthday sentiment. And also I've got some fun clusters of embellishments here. And I really love layering up all of my colors and textures and various elements. So much so that this embellishment here, this cluster, actually inspired this card right down here. I made a birthday card for a friend. I was so inspired by the colors and everything out on my desk. That's something I love to do when I've got a bunch of fun stuff out, is go ahead and make up a card. So that's what I've got going on here. And the other thing, my favorite thing about this page, it's down here and also up here, are some homemade banners that I created.
I know, and you're going to show us exactly how you made those banners.
I am. Okay, so I've said it before, I'm not known for my drawing skills. However, I can draw some straight lines, sort of, and I can draw some basic shapes. So what I did was I took, and this is funny to me, because this is my original, it's just printer paper. I didn't take anything special, I just took a scrap off the bottom of a piece of paper, and I drew this sort of curved line here just to give myself a reference point. I figured out about how many inches long I wanted my banner, and I knew that I wanted just a couple of different little banner shapes, some bigger than others, just to give it a little variation. And I drew that line first just to show me where I wanted to start. And then I just started at one end and just every, half inch or so, just drew another banner just straight up, and then my little notched end. And once I had this, this is actually only my second draft. I only did it twice. It actually was really easy. I shocked myself.
That's always nice. You know, they say that fear kills more dreams than failure. And I think that's true of so many things,
absolutely.
Right? You have to lose the fear. So I'm just going to pop this into our electronic cutter, and I'm going to go ahead and scan that in. Now, you could, of course, take that design or that template. You could put it on the back of a piece of pattern paper and cut it out or something like that. This just makes it easy so that you can cut it over and over.
It is, and honestly, because I have an electronic cutter at home, that's what inspired me to do this, because I knew I could scan it in and then just use that design once I had it as many times as I wanted.
Just over and over. And I know that you actually also, you were telling me that this cute little stamped title here, right, that was also, you just cut around it, which again, you could use scissors or an electronic cutter or something to get right around that design.
And I'm not using ink, I'm using paint today.
Well, great. Will you show us how to use the paint?
I will. So if you have a little piece of foam or a foam brush, or if you happen to have paint that already has a foam top, that makes it easy too. Any acrylic or craft paint will work. I like the foam because it lets me get enough paint to stamp with, but it's not so much that I have dripping paint off of everything. You just want to coat your stamp, and this will work with most stamps. I just don't recommend it if it's a highly detailed stamp. Sometimes you can kind of lose some of those fine details. And when you stamp down, I just like to press carefully, but keep kind of both hands on it, just because I want to make sure that I don't accidentally slide it around.
Right, because the paint is slippier. Can that be where it's more slippery than ink?
It's slick, yes, it is slick. So you can see how pretty that is. And it's just got that great bit of texture to it, a little bit of dimension, and you will want to just wipe either with some water, or like I have a little damp wipe here, a little cloth to wipe the paint off, just because you do not want it to fill up
on your stamp, right?
Yes, you don't want the cracks in the stamp to fill up with paint.
So now you can see that your design here, which is beautiful, has scanned in, which is great. So I'm going to go ahead and just pull in that margin so that it gets a nice clean scan, and then I'm going to go ahead and save it, because we are going to get ready to cut it out, which I think is super fun. So I'm going to unload this mat, And once I do that, I know that what you've given me here is 2 beautiful pieces of pink paper, which I'm gonna go ahead and load in. And I love this idea that you can cut out 2 different sizes, 2 different papers at the same time. That's kind of cool. So I'm gonna go ahead now and I'm just gonna navigate and find my awesome banner. I say mine, like I did it. Our
You
banner,
can borrow
it was
it.
collaborative maybe, something like that. It's right here, it looks good to me. And I'm gonna go ahead and scan in the paper so that I can see exactly where it's cutting and I can size it again, or let's say place, like this paper has words on it, and I think it would be really cool to, you know, place some of the words. I know you're more of a serendipity girl.
I know, but
and you like it to be
okay.
whatever, but you know, if you wanna be picky, you can be
Absolutely.
picky, and that's nice to know that you can, right? So you can see my paper's right here, and I can just go ahead and I can drag the banner on where I want it to be, and if I want another one, I can just add a second one. So let's pull a second one here, and then this one, I have a bigger piece of paper. Why not make it bigger, just like that? And then I'm gonna go ahead, hit OK. Okay, let's cut. And while that is cutting, you have the coolest background that you've been creating, again, using paint on your stamps.
Yes, so the same technique where you're going to do exactly what I did here, only this time I did white paint and I did it repeatedly all over this piece of paper. And the reason that is just so much fun is you can then take mist, whatever mist you like, and spray it. And I like to do a couple colors just because I'm wild and crazy like that. And I like to see what happens. And you're actually not gonna just let it dry. You're gonna take a paper towel and just blot off the color. And what that's going to do for you, and you could even like rub it around, okay?
Oh, that's so
And
cool.
what that's gonna do is, it's gonna be subtle, but all of those words, that white paint is gonna show up, as you can see.
So can you use just any white acrylic paint?
Absolutely, absolutely. And you
really
can
cool.
see how the base of the card that we talked about earlier, how that's coming together here.
Well, you know what I think is really neat is I'm looking at this. I mean, first of all, the rubbing was cool because that's how you blend the colors, but also I noticed that your card is smaller, which I can see from the stitching here, but you actually started with a bigger piece of paper.
I did, because sometimes I like to then size down or have a little more options based on what I decide I really want to do in the moment.
I think options are always good. And the other thing is then you have some fun painty scraps that you can use to create your own embellishments and other fun stuff like that. And you can see now here, I'm just pulling off, we have your beautiful hand-drawn banner in 2 different sizes. There's a nice big one.
Oh, perfect.
With those words, which I think is way cool. And then we have the pretty pink one with the hearts in there. Now, I know that you do a lot of layering. So would you layer these banners? And if so, like, how do you decide what goes on top, what goes on the bottom?
You know, I would decide, like, this one is so pretty with all the words. I think I would want it on top. We could also get into things like taking a gold pen or a black pen and edging it.
Oh, let's do that. That
Okay.
sounds awesome.
So any kind of bold tip pen or anything like that, you could just kind of go. I like to use a pen because it's easier to get when you got a design like this. It has a lot of different cracks in it, and you can kind of adjust.
Just add that gilded bit.
Yeah,
It's
and
like the
what that'll do, you can
sequins.
see when we set that back down, it gives it that little edge, which gives it helps it pop out from the background and from another banner.
So fun. I'm ready to celebrate.
I know.